Going to first check on my bearing cages to see how they've done soaking overnight. Oh yeah, that did good work. So we're going to have to clean those up first. We're going to do that so we can put the front axle hub all together and a whole bunch of other stuff today. That's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. We're going to put our clean parts from right to left just to change things up a bit. I think we'll work on the crank next. We'll put these spokes by these axles on the shelf, just because I'm not going to be able to put the wheel together obviously until I paint it. Here's our cups for bottom bracket. We'll get to work on this guy. cages are definitely caked with grease. So they're going to go in our little cup there of solvent. Let that solvent work its magic. Put the balls in there. And take everything else, probably not the crank itself. There's really no grease on that, but not really on that, but the cone nut, the 2 cups, this cone nut, and the sprocket definitely have to be degreased before we hit the wire wheel. I did check the bearing cages while I was back there at the parts washer, and they're definitely going to need at least an overnight soaking. But in the meantime, we can put these items on the wire wheel, get the rust off, shine them up a little bit, and then we'll finish up by putting some steel wool on the actual sprocket. like I said, we'll hit the sprocket up. I'm also going to do the crank with the steel wool, just because that wire wheel, like I said last episode, tends to dull. It does a good job of getting the rust off, but on the chrome, it will dull it up. I don't know whether that's just the nature of the wire wheel, or the fact that sometimes in the past I have used, well, I don't always get all the grease off of the parts before I put them on the wire wheel, so the wire wheel might be a little dirty, and that may contribute to it. So on this is all clean, except for a few little pieces there. But since it's nice chrome, I just like to use the steel wool on it. Sorry if I'm shaking you there, but I have to hold it against the table to get a good grip on it. That looks pretty good. And that makes a mess. Just gonna throw that right out. That's gonna do it. Thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you next time on Featherstone Bicycles.